I invite you to close your eyes if you are comfortable in doing so, or let your eyes, your gaze go softly out of focus. Stretch if you need to. Let your hands rest gently on your lap and put your feet flat on the floor. Now focus on your breathing. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, push aside all the busyness of the morning. Be gentle with yourself. You are safe. You are loved. You are among friends, like-minded spiritual travelers. Continue breathing deeply. Follow your own rhythm, your own pace. And as you relax into this moment, open your mind, your heart, and your soul, and welcome this sacred time in sanctuary. You are right where you need to be. Breathe deeply and feel yourself surrounded by the loving presence of God. You belong to a beautiful, spirit-filled community, and let our souls dive into what that means. Feel the comfort in knowing that your soul is welcome here, exactly as you are. You shine with the radiant life of God. You glow with the health, strength, vitality, energy, and yes, vim of God. You are immersed in an energetic flow of divine love that moves through and connects each one of us. Your beliefs, your feelings, your expanded awareness, all are perfectly integrated into our spiritual body. We are always one with Spirit. In this space, we practice true inclusion. We recognize the inherent goodness of every soul. We are all expressions of the one divine life. We acknowledge the ultimate truth that we are never separate from our divine source. And we are never separate from each other. Every individual brings a vital spark of God to our collective whole. Our shared consciousness elevates us all. We come together not just to seek the truth, but to live it. And today, we openly celebrate our connection to the divine and to each other. Please affirm quietly to yourself, I am a beloved member of God's family. I am an essential part of our unity community. I embrace togetherness. I find strength and joy in spiritual fellowship. And as we take these words to heart, let us meditate on them in the silence. And as you gently come back to the present moment, bring with you a sense of peace and connection. You are renewed, refreshed, and reunited with the Christ presence that dwells in each one of us. And when you are ready, open your eyes, come back to the room, and know that you belong. Amen.
Good morning, all. As Janet pointed out, I am sporting a new hairdo. This is a big step for me. You have no idea. I was looking for a Saturday. Carolyn had off. I said, I need you to go with me. I need you to, give me support as I make this change. And as I became more follically challenged, I realized I had to do something. It wasn't getting any better. And Carolyn said, I think you got the skull for it. I said, thank you, sweetie. I said, go with me and hold my hand while they do it. And so I said, we want something that makes me look like Jason Statham, one of my favorite actors. Very handsome man, also follically challenged. And so she got through. I said, I still don't look like Jason Statham. She said, I did what I could. So. But nevertheless, it's my new do. And it's a big change. You go from, combing and styling to oiling and greasing. And it's just a big change, but I wanted you to be a part of it with me. So thank you. Oh, big exciting news. When we came here, we'd had a house in Tennessee we couldn't sell, been on the market. And, of course, we managed to sell it April 15th thanks to your prayers and standing with us. Yes. And along with that, we closed on our new place on Friday in PV. It's the Granville area. And so we're going to be moving there. So thank you again for standing with us and helping us get rid of the old place and getting a new place. And we're just so very excited. So thank you again. A few things I wanted to mention that are coming up real soon. We're having soaking prayer starting Wednesday, the first and third Wednesday. And if you're available Tuesday around 11 a.m., if you could help me arrange the chairs for that. I did it myself the last time, and I had some offers for help. I really appreciate it. Somebody, can I help you do this? I said, I really don't know what to tell you yet. So let me see first what my system will be. And I discovered my system takes 2 hours with one person. So I thought, I'm definitely going to get help next time. So if you're available Tuesday at 11 to help me arrange chairs, I would deeply appreciate that. And also concerning soaking prayer, the soakers are the people that pray for those that are desiring healing. If you could get here Wednesday at 10, an hour beforehand, I learned some things from the last time. It was a beautiful time, but there's some things I learned we can do better. So if the soakers would join me, I want to share with you what I learned. That'll be helpful for us. Don't forget Pride Palooza. This will be our first major outreach since I've been your minister. And it's something we did every year where I came from. I'm very excited to be part of a Pride event here locally, letting our friends and brothers and sisters in the LGBTQ plus community know how we love and support them. And so please, if you'd like to be a part, contact Ricky Hershey. She's got all the details, but I'm going to be there. I got a cool shirt that says, "This pastor loves you," in rainbow colors, and it's always a huge hit. In fact, I've had people literally at the Pride event said, "Can I take a picture of you with that?" Said, "I've never had that kind of love and support from a minister in my life." I said, "I'd be honored to do that." And finally, one big thing. Forgive me, I didn't get it in the announcements. My bad. But we're going to start next Sunday collecting fishing gear. Yes, right, fishing gear. There's a group in town called Rise Above the Clouds. They have summer camps for foster youth that are really facing trauma. And she called me. Her name is Lala Lahan. I'm not kidding you. That's her real name, Lala. And Lala says, would your church be willing to help us get fishing equipment for these kids? I said, we'd be honored to do that. She said it doesn't have to be new if you can still use it. Fishing rods, tackle boxes, lures, no worms. Don't bring worms. But your fishing gear that would be a blessing to these kids. We'll start next Sunday all through the month of June. We'll be collecting fishing gear. And I know with the generous heart of the people here, I know that we'll get plenty of stuff for them. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate and love you all. This is a very exciting day. We'll be receiving new members into Unity of Prescott. And altogether, we got 27 new members. 27, isn't that beautiful? And all but one was able to come today, so we're very excited. We received several this morning. We'll be doing that again in this service. A very exciting time for me, and I'm so thankful. I like to say this congregation is just incredible about doing things. I hear fellow ministers say, I can't get my people to do anything. I said, boy, I can't identify you with you there, because these folks of mine are constantly on the move and just ready, for action. It reminds me of the great Italian statesman Garibaldi. Anybody remember Garibaldi? A few of us do. Said Garibaldi was standing on the street corner talking to a friend. Suddenly this crowd of people come running by at breakneck speed, obviously headed somewhere, and he turns to his friend. He said, excuse me, I need to go. So those are my followers, and I need to catch up to them that I may lead them. So if you'll excuse me. That's how I feel like Garibaldi alive. No comment on the baldy part either, right? I could hear it. I knew some of you were thinking that. I heard about, this is a beautiful story. Many of you are probably familiar with it, where a violent storm had thrust a number of starfish onto the beach. And thousands and thousands of starfish had been, put on the beach. And they were sure to perish before the next tide came in. And just as far as the eye could see, starfish everywhere. And this old man happened upon the scene. He was just overwhelmed with the sight of all these starfish that were surely going to die without help. And he noticed there was this little boy down there by the sea. And he was picking up a starfish, carrying it until he could place it safely in the sea, where it could resume its life, as it was meant to. And he was amazed. This little boy was taking one starfish out of this vast multitude of starfish. And he couldn't help but go down there and talk to him. He said, what are you doing, son? He said, I'm helping the starfish. He said, do you see what's around you? Do you realize, look at all this. It would take an army to just make a dent in it. What difference do you think you can make, son? Didn't even look at him. Picked up a starfish. Said, made a difference to that one. Went back, picked up another one. Made a difference to that one. Suddenly the old man realized there was a lesson here he was supposed to learn, and he was just starting to get a hold of it. And so he knelt down, a little stiffer, a little slower than the little boy, picked him up a starfish, and joined his new partner. Made a difference to that one. And they continued to do this, doing all they could to save whatever starfish they could. Well, I talked to you this morning about the little, the least, and the great big feast. Highly appropriate with the picnic coming up, right? The little, the least, and the great big feast. And it all comes down to what difference does my little bit make? Seemingly what he was doing was making so little difference, but he just said to each individual one, it was life or death. What difference does my little bit make? My little bit of talent, so-called. My little bit of ability, my little bit of contribution, my little bit of presence. You just don't know what an enormous difference it makes, especially when we put it all together. Let me read you from the book of Matthew, chapter 25, the words of Jesus of Nazareth. Then the king will say to those at his right hand, come, you who are blessed by my Father. Inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when was it we saw you hungry and gave you food, or thirsty, gave you something to drink? When was it we saw you a stranger and welcomed you, or naked and gave you clothing? When was it we saw you sick or in prison and visited you? And the king will answer them, truly I tell you, just as you did it to one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did it to me. What do you mean by the least? Do you mean of lesser value than other people? I don't believe he meant that at all. What I believe he was referring to was not their value, but whether their recognition, or whether there was fanfare about them, or whether they were highly esteemed in the community, or celebrities, or in the who's who of what's what. He was talking about that. And Jesus made no value judgment based on that. He said, inasmuch you did it to one of the least of these, least noticed, least esteemed, and least perceived, you did it for me. Just as taking a starfish from a multitude of starfish and rescuing one of them. So if you did it one of the least of these, you did it for me. And this demonstrates our connection with our way shower. How many know this is what our way shower values? Acts of kindness, of love, of service for other people. Isn't that true? Not having the right doctrine. You ever met anybody like that? They had all the doctrine figured out. Got the perfect doctrine, and nobody's impressed. Isn't that right? Because how many know it's not what means anything to our way shower Jesus either. What means something to him is, do you have acts of kindness and service? Are you demonstrating the love that you have as an outward expression of the divine? We are individual expressions of God, as we said, individualized expressions. And we show this by acts of kindness, love, and service for other people. Devoting ourselves to what matters to Jesus. And interestingly, none of the things listed is beyond any of our ability, is it? How many know from the lowest income to the highest, every one of us can give some food to someone who's hungry and in need? Even if it's not much. Every one of us has the ability to visit someone who's sick or struggling. Every one of us can do these things. And they mean everything to the recipient and to our way shower. I remember the first President Bush, President George H.W. Bush, he developed a concept in his first administration that I thought is so beautiful to this day. You might remember it. He called it 1,000 points of light. How many remember that? Isn't that a beautiful concept? It's as if there was a map of the United States, a dark map, and suddenly these points of light start appearing all over. That concept of points of light, each of us giving our part, doing what we can to better the lives of our nation. It's still a beautiful concept, isn't it? 1,000 points of light. One of my favorite singers, Garth Brooks, and one of my favorite songs of his called The Change illustrates this. He said, one hand reaches out and pulls a lost soul from harm, while 1,000 more go unspoken for. And they say, what good have you done by saving just this one? It's like whispering a prayer in the fury of a storm. And I hear them saying, you'll never change things. And no matter what you do, it's still the same thing. But it's not the world that I am changing. I do this so this world will know that it will not change me. Made a difference to that one. How many have ever heard of Niels Boland? I'd be surprised if you had. Although, oh boy, somebody had. I'm amazed. 2 people have. That is so cool. I didn't expect that. You threw me off. But if you've never heard of Niels Boland, I guarantee you've been affected by him. Niels Boland had worked with the more elaborate 4-point harnesses in airplanes and knew that system would be untenable in an automobile. In designing the new seat belt, he concentrated on providing a more effective method of protecting driver and passenger against the impact of swift deceleration that occurred when a car crashed. Within a year, Boland had developed the 3-point seat belt so commonly used today. Introduced first in Volvos in 1959. The new belt secured both the upper and lower body. Its straps joined at hip level and buckled into what Boland called an immovable anchorage point below the hip, so that they could hold the body safely in the event of a crash. According to Bolin, it was just a matter of finding a solution that was simple, effective, and could be put on conveniently with one hand. And how many know every one of us have been affected by that and will the rest of our lives? This unknown guy named Niels Bolin. And from a personal standpoint, I was deeply affected by it. My father, Baxter Quinton, was in an accident. And he said the seatbelt was what saved his life. My father, the seatbelt saved his life. He joined a group called the Saved by the Belt Club. And all of his life, he was a member of that, touting the value and the necessity of seatbelts to save lives. Made a difference to that one. There's another young fellow by the name of Austin King Hurt. Y'all hadn't heard of him, have you? Okay. This young urban gardener's green thumb is more than just a hobby, more than just a reason to make videos and post them online. This all started 3 years ago because Austin and his family were hungry. He said, I took my mama's beans out of the cabinet because we didn't have much to eat. All we had was rice and those bags of beans, he said. It was like a very small bag of beans, not even enough to feed everybody. So I had to make enough, Austin says. His smile disappeared for a second as he remembered the moment. It's a defining one for this child, mature beyond his years because he had to be. In that moment 3 years ago, Austin says he made a decision his family wasn't going to go hungry anymore. He explains how he took the beans, dug a hole next to his house, and buried them in his yard. All I knew was water, dirt, and sunshine. That's all I knew. I didn't know nothing else, Austin says. That was enough. A week later, Austin says bean plants started coming out of the ground, so he stuck pieces of wood in the dirt so they could grow taller. We had beans and rice for the rest of the winter, he said, smiling. His mother, Dorothea, said, I haven't bought a bag of beans since. 3 years later, a bag of beans has grown into an entire garden, a community garden. Austin put a sign up. It said, I grow it, you take it. And continued to this day. Made a difference to that one. There's a story from the Gospels where Jesus fed a multitude of people, 5,000. Let's read that for just a minute. Jesus said to them, his disciples that came to him said, listen, teacher, you got to send these people home. They've been here all day. They've had nothing to eat. You got to send them back, because they need food. Jesus said to him, they don't need to go away. You give them something to eat. They replied, we have nothing here but 5 loaves and 2 fish. And he said, bring them here to me. And he ordered the crowds to sit down on the grass. Taking the 5 loaves and 2 fish, he looked up to heaven and blessed and broke the loaves and gave them to the disciples. And the disciples gave them to the crowds. And all ate and were filled. And they took up what was left over of the broken pieces, 12 baskets full. And those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. Unity founder Charles Fillmore comments on this in the Revealing Word. He said, in the universal mind is a substance that Jesus called the Father, which is also the seed of all visible substance. It is the only real substance because it is unchangeable. While visible substance is in constant transition, an idea is purely spiritual and can be apprehended only by the mind. It is never visible to the eye, but can be sensed by man through any of his spiritual functions. When the attention has been centered on the idea of substance long enough and strongly enough, a consciousness of substance is generated. And by the powers of the various faculties of the mind in right relation, visible substance is formed. In this way, Jesus brought into visibility the loaves and fishes to feed the 5,000. And one of our greatest unity ministers, Eric Butterworth, offered a logical and reasonable way he thinks this came about. Because something, Jesus tore the fish and suddenly grew a head and a tail. And, that's certainly possible. But more likely, I think, I agree with Reverend Butterworth, said suddenly on the scene somebody appeared, some merchants, some guys from town, heard these people were out here with no food and just sent camels and donkeys laden with stuff for them. So this is likely, and said what even Albert Schweitzer made this point to his colleagues, said if nobody else was involved in this, where'd they get the 12 extra baskets from? Very good point. It kind of bumfuzzled them. But however it came about, Mr. Fillmore's point is an idea in spiritual mind translates into physical substance, you see, however it comes about. That the application of each of the ideas we receive from divine mind accumulate into a feast for many. And this applies. And as we receive new members today, this is a picture of that, you see. Each individual coming together, bringing what they have to create a feast for the world around us. A feast of love, a feast of service and caring. Made a difference to that one. And now we come to the time we want to receive our new members, and I'm so excited. And we want to recognize your presence and your talent and your gifting, and that we need you. And we are so honored that you've chosen to join yourself to helping further promote and accelerate our ministry in this community. You remember that song by Jewel called Hands? Remember that? It goes like this. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. But they're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken. Sing that with me. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. But they're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken. Let's change it up. Our hands. Our hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are our own. But they're not yours, they are our own. And we are never broken. A beautiful expression that our hands may not be that much to meet the vast need, but when we come together, they're extraordinary, aren't they? Stand with me and let's make our affirmation in closing before we receive our new members today, if you would be so kind. Stand and make this affirmation with me. If you repeat after me, please. I am a point of light. My brilliance makes a difference. I join with other lights in divine mind. And we shine brightly together. Yeah. You can have your seats, please.